What's going on, guys? Today we're covering SMCI, Super Microcomputer Incorporated. It's been a while since we covered this stock. Wasn't a ton going on after seeing that big gap down after some bad earnings and continuation to the downside, but we did find a bottom around that $40 psychological level, in which we predicted we broke this descending type of range. Find that chop zone of 44 and 47, where price wasn't doing all that much, just kind of chopping sideways a bit. And recently, we've gotten some very nice news with SMCI unveiling a new lineup of AI optimized servers powered by NVIDIA's latest chips. And that's definitely deepened its AI hardware credibility. So it gives SMCI investors definitely a bit of positive hope and outlook on the stock after seeing some really bad earnings. And a lot of people thought if we didn't find a bottom around that $40 level, we'd really be looking quite bad for the downside. We'd have to test this ascending support from the past. And it wasn't exactly a great scenario, but instead, guys, we did get that break. We found a test here once, twice, and the third time we do get that nice break. Continuation, chop around for a bit, not doing all that much. We're using that 44 past resistance here where we broke this very long-term kind of descending range where this resistance was really giving stock a hard time. We use that as support. So we see that this is a reactive stock. SMCI uses past resistances as support, vice versa. That's definitely something good to note. As we see here too, that $40 level past support actually held up quite well, propelling the stock out of this descending range. So a reactive stock is definitely a good one to work with and analyze. So we did get that good news, which really led to this break of 47.85. That being the spot we kind of been chopping around in that main resistance. Very nice green wide bar, but today being quite indecisive. We see that we don't get a pullback though, guys. After a big move like this, it's definitely a good chance that you'd see a little bit of a pullback. So let's try to step in. Instead, they try to step in, but you see that buying pressure, buying it back up at that $50 psychological level, and the buyers do close in favor of today. A little bit of indecision going on, which is to be expected after a very nice strong move to the upside, but we do claim above that $50 level, and we close at 52.50. So all good things, and we are starting this gap fill. After those bad earnings and continuation, guys, we had a big gap to fill, and we're looking to fill that right here. We're actually around halfway filled to that gap. So definitely very nice to see that SMCI is actually getting some nice positive feedback. We do get that double bottom like effect. We had that little bit of a bottom right here as we try to break through that resistance, which we did. We find that support bottom, get that move up. That's where you find a pullback and a bottom right here, now leading to a nice move to the upside, and just recently in a very volatile manner. So the fact that we closed today in the buyer favor after such a big drastic move to the upside, I think we look really good here to fill this gap, guys, and possibly over time within the next couple of months retest that 62.32. Now if I take you guys to the weekly time chart, this is the main resistance that we were battling. So stock wasn't doing all that much. We get in a sort of range here, flag and pole, long drawn out, boom. We get a movement to 122.90, where we find some obvious resistance as well as some obvious support. We're kind of battling on that, but we do give way, and sellers push us all the way down to that $17 level, where we find an ascending profile. Stock is bouncing up and down. We see some obvious resistances that really stand out, and once again we try to make that break of resistance around that $62.32 level. That's where we find a rejection, but we meet back up with that support, and that does hold. And this whole time we're very volatile. We're chopping in a volatile manner, and this last test we do see that stock does definitely tighten up a bit comparative to the past price action. Kind of just hanging around here, and we kind of bleed out in a nice ascending profile. But where do we find that rejection? At that 62.32. And what's reminiscent about that is that that was that other past attempt out where we really did meet up with that resistance, and we rejected at that same level. So 62.32, definitely a pretty main spot to keep your eye on with this stock. That's definitely harsh resistance where if we try to test that and break through that, if we did end up breaking through it, we'd be looking really nice to the upside with a lot of room to run, with that 122 being the all-time high. And now on the weekly, we actually see that the stock is looking very nice and bullish after that good news came in. So as long as we can hold this relative nice type of pattern and volume can start seeping in here as volumes really dried up over time, we could be seeing a nice continuation. Just want to see that buyer pressure and volume start to increase here, and we could really be seeing that full gap fill and then retesting that 62.32. Looking good. You just want to remain above that $50 psychological level. Right, if sellers try to yank us down, use that as support, continue trending up, break through that 54.20, and then we'd be in that zone of 54 and that 62, where there's not a lot of holding us back. Right past price action, very much an exit zone, either going up, either going down. Not a ton of chop between the levels of 54 and 62, at least historically speaking. And turning back to the daily, we see that obvious picture, right? Not a ton of chop, about a week and a half of chop before continuing our movement there. We see very quick price action there. And it's not really a zone where price likes to hang around. So since we already are in a volatile movement given this candle here, if we can continue in this move and volume can start seeping in, I could definitely be seeing a quick kind of, move to the upside, getting over that 54.40, where we kind of be battling in that type of region instead of hanging around that 50 to 54 type of region where price doesn't really like to hang around all that much. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. Daily stands pretty self-explanatory. Support levels to watch around that $50 psychological level. Recent resistance to break 54 and claim that as support, where we'll be trending back within the range, looking for that retest of that dreaded 62.32. Now, take you guys to the hourly. We see a very nice response to the news. We're chopping really kind of extended here after breaking out of that narrow range. We didn't get a huge volatile move to the upside. Just got a leg up. We're chopping, 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 not doing all that much. And then boom, break through that resistance, break through $50 psychological level, and we're continuing in a nice ascending profile. So just watch for this to continue, guys. Watch for volume to come in here. Those are the main indicators, and watch for that 50.70, more specifically just that $50 psychological level to hold up as some nice support and get out of this zone quite quickly. Looking for our main target, which would be that 62.32. So that's all I got for you guys today. Pretty self-explanatory analysis. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe. And let me know your price predictions in the comments below, guys. Where do you guys have yourselves in the stock, short-term and long-term? And what positions do you guys have, if any? I appreciate you guys all watching to the end of the video. As always, guys, trade smart. I'll see you all in the next one.